Hey guys, Novel Strumpet, long time no review. I've had some time on my hands lately, so been reading, had some things I wanted to share with you, so here we go. Today I'm talking about two novellas by Gail Carriger. They're set in her Parasol verse, and if you aren't familiar with this Parasol verse, then you should go out and grab the first book of the Alexa Terabody series, Solace, and then go out and grab the Custard Protocol series, and then the Finishing School series, and basically you should just read everything she's ever written because she's amazing. Victorian London, automatons, steampunk, werewolves, vampires. I mean, what's not to love? So the first novella I'm talking about is Romancing the Werewolf. This takes place a few decades after Timeless and Imprudence. So this picks up with Biffy still being the alpha of the London pack and kind of settling into his new role there, and really doing a good job. He's bound and determined to make these dadgum werewolves fashionable. So he moves everyone over to a new house towards the center of London, and meanwhile Professor Lyle, who went north to the King Air clan because he owed them a debt, is finally returning to take his place as Beta. So he comes back, and of course, the house is empty. He runs into Lord Akeldama. Love him. Who doesn't want to be called Puff Bonnet or Pudding or something by Lord Akeldama? Because I know I do. So he finds out where they've moved. Lyle goes there, is warmly welcomed back into the fold because they've missed their Beta. But the warm welcome he really wants is from a certain Alpha. And certain Alpha wants to give him a really warm welcome, but they're not quite sure. I mean, it's been some time since they've been around each other. Do they still feel this way about each other? What about the pack dynamics? Is it good for an alpha and a beta to not only have their relationship inside pack dynamics, but a romantic entanglement as well? And on top of all of this, children have suddenly started showing up on their doorsteps. I'm just picturing big fuzzy werewolves and giant tiny little toddlers and babies running around, and it's such an adorable image, and I can't stop myself from cracking up every time I think about it. So they gotta figure out where these kids are coming from before they become basically an orphanage. Spoiler alert! So they figure out where the kids are coming from. I guess there's a religious cult nearby, and their charismatic leader is telling everyone, hey, you know, you gotta sacrifice your kids to the werewolves because that's what the Heavenly Father wants because they're superior to us. And of course all the werewolves are like, yeah, we don't eat kids. That's just gross. And not very fashionable. A little uncouth. So they shut that down real quick. And towards the end of the novella, you know, Biffy and Lyle, they kind of hash it out, talk it over, and they get their HEA. No. So the next novella I'm talking about is How to Marry a Werewolf. And this stars one of my personal favorites, Major Channing of the Chesterfield Channings. Just rolls trippingly off the tongue, doesn't it? So this starts off with an American named Faith Wigglesworth. She's been disgraced, and her family, of course, is very upset by this, and they decide the worst punishment that they could think of is to ship her off to London to some relatives and have her married off to a werewolf. I mean, if that got me sent to London to be part of society, I'd probably want to marry a werewolf too. Just saying. So off she flies into her dirigible with her maid. They land in London, and no sooner do they land than they are accosted by werewolves. One of whom is Major Channing, because he's now the head of Burr, and he's gotten some intelligence that one of those passengers on that ship may be smuggling sundowner bullets into London. And as we all know, that's a very bad thing, because those are basically the only weapons that can kill supernaturals. So, not good. And then here comes this brash American off, and she's got this mysterious case that weighs more than it probably should, and some altercations, sparks are flying. Kind of turns out she's not carrying bullets, she's just carrying a lot of rocks. Because Faith likes to collect rocks. Granted, they're like semi-precious rocks, or she like studies geology and stuff, but still, they're rocks. Anywho, her family in London is completely accepting of her, and they're determined to help her catch a werewolf. Spoiler alerts! So they take her to some fashionable areas of London to get a new wardrobe, and one of which is a hat shop, owned by none other than Lord Falmouth, aka Biffy, aka the Alpha of the London Pack. And then who shows up but Major Channing, and then Biffy's watching some sparks fly here, and he's like, oh, no, there's something going on here. Balls, meetings, a sort of non-courtship starts happening. Next thing you know, Faith's parents come into the picture and are their terrible selves, because Americans, such zealots, so uncouth. Anyway, Faith's mother basically tries to confront her at a ball and disgrace her, and Channing's like, oh no ma'am, that's not happening, because now she's my American and I'm protecting what's mine. Meanwhile, we find out from Faith's maid that her dad was the one that sent the sundowner bullets with Faith's maid, and the maid had smuggled them in. So now said maid has been like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Here's the bullets. So as part of an engagement gift, Faith marches over to the pack house and is like, oh hey, I got your bullets. And Channing is like, oh hey, look, I cleared off a shelf in the library for all your rocks. And then they talk about some of the hang-ups they've had, which I'm not going into, you'll just have to read for yourself. And then they work everything out, and HEA. Yay. So what did I think? I loved these novellas. They fit so well into the Parasol verse, but they make me want more. I want to know more about the London Pack. I want more of Biffy as Alpha. I want to see a bunch of werewolves raising a bunch of toddlers, because that's flippin' hysterical. And I just want more of Gail's books, because she has such a great voice. It's fun, it's lighthearted, but there's elements of mystery, and I love the way she builds her worlds, and I just want to live in them. I want the clothes, bad hats, good hats. I want Lord Akaldama to call me Pudding. I want to hang out with all of the characters. I want to get in a dirigible. I want a parasol that can do all this cool stuff. Like, I just want to live in all of her books. Yeah. So, if you're a fan of the Parasol verse, I definitely think you should read these two. Yeah, things may happen a little quickly, but they're novellas. You know, the mysteries and everything are kind of in there to move the story along, but really it's the relationships that take, you know, the cake in this, and they're done very well, because I feel like what annoys me about most of these books is how they get all like, oh, you know, I can't really be with you because of these things, or, oh, I can't be with you, I must sacrifice my love for you for this, and these guys are like, nah. They're like, I have hang-ups. Wait, maybe I can get over my hang-ups. Let's talk about our hang-ups. Oh, okay, so we're okay? Well, let's move on then, and let's be a couple, and everything will work out. Yay! So anyway, guys, I hope you're reading some great stuff out there. You can feel free to tell me about it. You can find me at Mike the Fanboy, at Twitter as @NovelStrumpet, and you can always learn more about Gail Carriger by visiting her site, and all the links are below. So until next time, happy reading!